Okay, we're going to talk about the anchor ball. So you see these. This is a ball, and a ball in the rigging means that the boat is at anchor. Okay, so I'm going to put up the anchor ball because we just got in from a day's run, and we're in Monaco now. We left northern Italy this morning. And so I'm going to put up this that's supposed to look like a ball. I don't know what that looks like. It looks kind of like a radar reflector. But this is a legal requirement. And when I started sailing, nobody ever put up an anchor ball. They just always, you'd anchor, and everybody would come in and out of port, and you'd look and you'd see a boat and you'd say, oh, he's obviously at anchor. And it was never a big deal, and nobody ever seemed to make an issue of it until a while back they came out with these jet skis, these personal watercraft, and you'd be out there in an anchorage and somebody on shore would be renting these jet skis. And the jet skis in the old days, they had this deal where you'd be giving throttle and you could turn while you're giving throttle. But if you released throttle, even if you had momentum of the jet ski and turned, then the jet ski continued on in the same direction. So what would happen is that these jet skis would get rented on the shore, and they would send these things out like hordes of mosquitoes, and they would come just zipping around the boats. Because what else would you do if you rented a jet ski? You'd go out around the boats, right? Okay, so they come out around the boats, and they go round and round the boats, and then and pretty soon these guys are going around the boat at like 40 knots. I mean, these jet skis really, they really fly. And one time they make the turn or something, and they come in too close, and they realize, oh, I'm going too fast. And they let off the throttle, and they try to turn. And of course, what happens? They slam into the side of somebody's anchored boat. And as soon as they do, they go flying over the handlebars of the jet ski and hit their head on the boat, and there's a big medical emergency. And once the guy wakes up in the hospital and he's, paralyzed in half of his body or whatever it is, he wants to sue somebody. So the first thing he does is asks his lawyer, okay, what do I do now? And then so he says, well, we can go after the rental company. And what'd you hit? Oh, I hit this anchored boat. So then they go on out and they look and they say, well, it was an anchored boat. Was he totally correct in his anchoring? Because the lawyers are just looking for anybody that they can sue. And what they say is he didn't have an anchor ball up. So how did the jet ski know that this guy was actually at anchor? Now, of course, he didn't have his anchor ball up, his day symbol. The guy in the jet ski has never even heard of its day signal. He has no idea what it is. Otherwise, he wouldn't have crashed into the boat in the first place. But, of course, the lawyers come out and then they say, he didn't have a day signal up. It must be his fault. The jet ski thought that he was a moving boat and was going to go behind him, but the boat wasn't actually moving. And so, thus the collision. So then the anchored boat sitting there totally passive is at fault. Thus the reason that every time we go out now, we have to put up these anchor balls that we never had to before jet skis were in use.